Well, welcome back, Raja, for season 2?
3. We recorded season 2.
Yeah, but then it didn't work. So aren't we calling this season 2 now?
I think we call it season 2.5.
2.5. All right, welcome back to Old Fashioned Marketing, season 2.5, where Raja and I, Andrea Lechner-Becker, we sit, we drink old fashions, and we talk about old fashioned marketing. So without further ado, welcome to season 2.5, Raj. Cheers. All right, so on episode 1, we're going to talk about your possibility, plausibility, probability curve.
Yes.
So this is where we'll put up a visual, and then you can explain what the fuck is this?
Yeah. One of the things that I always talk about just in general is that when we talk about what is probable and what is possible and what is plausible, we always talk about like what is sold, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the art of the possible, the art of the deal, art of the possibilities, that is 100% always what is sold to companies.
Right. That's what technology companies love to do.
Yeah.
They love to tell you all of the bells and whistles and everything that's possible.
Yeah.
Like a unicorn
and like how it may or may not even
rainbow.
affect you, right? Like
Totally.
And the problem with that is that when you actually go into implementation, we've talked about this on 1,000 times, is that when we start implementing something, the possibility just goes right out the window, and it's
right.
and it always goes into like there's not enough resources, or we were expecting this to get rolled out quicker, and you showed us a video of an Aston Martin, but really we're a real estate company, and I don't know how that worked, but the Aston Martin was really cool. So there's 2 reasons I kind of created this thing. One was everyone always talks about like as a consultancy, what separates you, what's like your differentiator, right? Like, it's the key thing. And everyone can say that they're kind of better. Like everyone can also talk about like, hey, we're
smarter.
Better. Yeah, we're smarter. We got good people. We're better. We build shit faster. Whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But I hate saying that stuff without actually some sort of like way to actually explain why.
Right.
And the reason, and this is like the first time.
And you've been doing this for how long? How long have you been a consultant?
2010. You know that, 2010. But I get it.
So it's taken you 14 years to create a visual to properly educate people about what makes you different.
Consultancies.
Yeah.
Consultancies, not me. Because I can sell myself all I want. Everyone knows, like I've been.
Everyone knows you're a genius.
Everyone knows. Like, I'm in the game for 15 years.
Oh,
It is. But like, what separates consultancies? And I think that's the biggest thing, right? Because there's so many. Like when we first started, there was like 3 or 4, and now there's like at least 56 that I can count.
It's very specific.
I counted them before I came here. But I mean, I'm just saying like indirect, direct, whatever it is. But there's a lot of consultancies because people have leveled up to the point, and there's also a lot of ICs, independent contractors.
And I feel like people have gotten disgruntled with full-time jobs, and they're like, I'll just go be a fucking consultant and make twice as much money for half of the work.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. There's a lot of independent contractors that do exactly that. But the main thing that we always sold back during the LMD days is that when you hire a consultancy, you hire a slew of experience.
Right.
And that's what the differentiating factor was. And I think that's kind of like lost nowadays because there's so many people, there's so much tech that's already available, and people can get certified. Hey, I'm certified. What does that mean? Not really a lot, but what this plausibility curve really is defined to do is that there's only a couple things that a good consultant and a good consultancy have to offer. And the biggest thing is their skill set and knowledge. And that's based off on what is the hindsight. What are all the experiences that you've had that led you up to this moment? And when you plan for the future, foresight, you take that breadth of experience that you've learned over time and you apply that to something that is a more executable and actionable way rather than just saying everything, because everything is possible. I can be in Deadpool 4. Right? I could hit up Ryan Reynolds.
Possible.
Very true. And I could be in Deadpool 4.
Totally.
Yeah. The probability of that, though, is probably slim to none.
Right.
So
this is what you mean when you say like that hindsight's so important, because I agree, obviously. But I think what you're saying is that all these technology companies sell the art of the possible, which already sounds like it's just going to be bullshit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you call it the art of the possible. Yeah. It's not the fact of the possible. Like it's
not the reality of the possible.
Right. So like I think what hindsight provides, because I think experience is one of those fluffy words. It's like, oh, we're very strategic. And it's like, what the fuck does that mean? And it's like, oh, we are experienced.
Some of the top 3 consultancies are very strategic, but they don't know what they're doing when they get behind the wheels.
Totally. So I think that hindsight is translating the art of the possible into like, okay, but like, yeah, you can do that, but nobody fucking does.
Yeah.
And sales reps never see that, right? Like, I don't want to demonize sales reps because they're just doing their job, you know? God love them. Marketers love salespeople, as you know.
We've just been talking about sales and marketing alignment for the last 17,000 years.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, I think that like they really don't see that so often there are political things that keep the art of the possible from actually possibling. There are technology considerations, there are data considerations, there are budget considerations, like all of the real world really gets in the way.
Resourcing, one of like the primary things, people actually doing the work. I can sell you whatever I want to sell you, but if you don't have people on keyboards, and I don't care what people say about AI, like there's not a single AI that currently in an operational role can take away someone doing it. Eventually they will. Eventually we'll have to fight versions of Arnold Schwarzenegger's for our job, but not at this current time.
Yeah. You love the Arnold Schwarzenegger because then you get to do your impression.
I'm not going to do my impression.
Oh, well.
Yeah, I mean.
We haven't had enough drinks yet.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. 3 more drinks.
They will come. Yeah. Tune in to episode 4 when the whole thing will be just
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. We'll have a helicopter here, you know.
Yeah, for sure. We'll just CGI one. AI will put one in for us. Is what's going to end up happening.
1,000%. Firefly.
Okay, so the concept here is that your hindsight helps you help your clients differentiate between the art of the possible and then what is probable and then what is plausible.
Yes.
So what is better, plausible or probable?
That's probably like the number 1 question that I get asked. And I would say it's probable. And the reason being is plausible is plausible. That's the whole definition of the word, right?
Right.
Well, however, you have to add budget to it. You have to have resources to it. And if you do all of those things, then it becomes probable. However, in the current state of the economy, we don't have budget, right? The number 1 thing that we get asked as a consultancy is how do we do more with less? I mean, we've been getting asked for a while, but it's even more crucial now. Tech stacks are getting consolidated, right? Like all SaaS products are like having different versions of one SaaS product, moving people into one role. So when we talk about the art of the plausible, it's invested reality, meaning you invest into it. And when you invest into it, like if you say, here's my money, I want you to make this possible, then yes, then we will, then we can get somewhere. We can make it, because it becomes probable at that point because we have resources or budget to attach to it.
We've invested in it.
Correct.
Yeah.
But probable is the most likely thing that's going to happen in your current scenario. We don't get a lot of people approaching us and saying, we have this so much money to spend.
Right.
Right? We just need this to get done, right? It's actually vice versa. It's like, hey, people are, we're losing resources, we're losing budget, we have to show value in some way, shape, or form. And that's where kind of like this curve, really kind of comes into place. Is like, you can do what's plausible if you have budget and resourcing. You're never going to be able to meet the possible because, let's just face it, that's a pipe dream. But this is how you get to, like this is the probability.
The art of the possible is just bullshit.
And there was a sales pitch very recently. I'm not going to say where or anything like that. That a very big company was pitching, and I heard and I counted, because I do stuff like that. As I counted that he said the art of the possible, that exact phrase, 18 times in a 1-hour pitch on why they needed this. Because it's the art of the possible. You can definitely do it. It's the art of the possible. And this is what the platform is like. It's the art of the possible. And you know what you can see? This is what the art of the possible is. Like 17 times different way, low pitch, high pitch, middle pitch. And like for me, I was like, there's no way this is applicable. Like this is just not gonna happen.
Okay, so the art of the plausible, or not the art of the plausible, but
we can call it the art of the plausible.
Okay. So
it is an art.
Plausibility becomes more probability if you invest in it. So let's talk a little bit about, because I assume that we're also saying that results are better in the plausible, right? You invest more, you get better results. Are we saying that or no?
No, because yes and no. Yes and no.
Yeah.
It's when we talk about what the art of the possible is, usually like it's a change management piece, right? Like we're bringing people in, we're changing a tech stack, we're training people.
Right. Yes.
The art of the plausible gets you there quicker because you can invest in it. Now, when we talk about results, right? Like we're talking about just very strict, like
money. We've talked about this before.
Yeah, we've talked about it 100 times. Like revenue is always going to be a goal of every successful company. If revenue is not a goal of a successful company, you are probably a failing company at that point, right?
And even I've said the phrase before, like if you work for a for-profit company, profit is the end goal. Yeah. But even like nonprofits, like they need donations. Yeah. So like money, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's the root of all evil, but it's also the root of all business. And so like you gotta just get over it. And like if you don't make your company money, like your ass is on the chopping block. Yeah. Bottom line.
And that's where when we talk about what is the art of the plausible, is we're saying we are going to get to that state faster.
Yeah.
Whereas the art of the probable is like, what can we do with our current resources? And the reality is your timelines are going to shift. Art of the possible is a mythical land of unicorns where you can get everything in a very, very quick way without spending money. With just buying this piece of software alone will get you there. But the art of the plausible is
what was that? That was like a bird magic.
A peacock.
Yeah.
It's a magnificent peacock.
Yes.
Yeah, but the art of the plausible is saying, hey, we're just going to streamline that timeline of where it's a successful deployment and implementation. We're going to integrate it better. Yeah. We're going to train people, and people are going to be generally ready for this change management piece in tech a lot quicker.
Yeah. So what kind of actionable steps can people take if they feel like, they've been sold this bill of goods from tech providers? Again, not demonizing anyone, but just saying that's what's happening. And so they're sold the art of the possible, and then they realize, oh, fuck, it's really not happening. Like, how do they close that gap? Or how do you ask for more investment in people and processes and all the things that can get you at least closer to this bill of goods that you have been sold?
Yeah, there is a multi-pronged approach, which is like the fanciest words I've ever used to describe it, right? Yeah. Because you could use the GNW framework that says these are all the things that you want to do, and this is why we need budget for it.
Right.
But once again, the probability of you getting budget.
We're using hindsight here.
Yeah.
Again.
The probability of that happening is very less, especially in today's world. And when this episode, if you watch this episode in 2027, it might be very, very different. Who knows? But there's a couple ways. One, you have to either know that you can secure budget. Two, if you've been sold the art of the possible and you've bought into it, always have someone second guess.
Okay.
Right? The second pair of eyes never hurts. And honestly, once again, the most recent example is we flew out just for that reason. Like we said, the first day, company 1 was pitching. Second day, company 2 was pitching. Third day, the company literally asked us, what was your understanding based off on our current situation? And mind you, like this is a little bit different is because they are a current client. So ultimately, be a current client. And then we can go from there. But, bring it.
But I mean, someone could pay you to do this.
Yeah,
right?
For
like
sure.
Help you basically sniff out the bullshit.
And snuff out the bullshit.
And snuff out the,
the bullshit.
Loser. The loser technology gets snuffed while you sniff out what the actual probability of success is with certain technologies.
Now, or if you feel that you've done a very good job, literally have another pair of eyes look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a million of those back in the day, right? Like, hey, we are investing in this technology. Are we prepared for it? Are we staffed for it? And we'll be like, yes, no. You could, use this, or this is the gap that you have to fill. Yeah. But ultimately, just know, like, if you're one of the things that make consultancies, and the reason that we've always been around, not we obviously, but like consultancies in general, whether it's IT consulting, manufacturer consulting, robotic, whatever it is because we deal with multiple clients, multiple tech stacks across a very short period of time. So once again, when we look at the hindsight of experience, that's what you're paying a consultancy for. You're not paying a consultancy to send an email faster or right-click faster. You're paying for their experience. Yeah. And one of the things I personally, as a business owner, had a very, very hard time, even though our PR agency always told us, like, well, you really got to get out there. You're like, what makes you different? What makes you different? And I think now we're at a point where we can highlight that it is, I've been doing it since 2010. Mm-hmm. My director of marketing operations, she's a dinosaur. Sorry, Michelle. But, she's been doing it for 15 years. She's been doing it longer than us.
Yeah.
Akande, who's our VP of operations, he's been doing it for 8 years. Kelsey White, 9th employee at Visible, director of revenue analytics. The slew of the leadership that is there, that is now disseminating knowledge to the next level of consultants, is by far you're not going to find, because everyone, including myself, has been driving this train since MarTech Stack was around.
Yeah.
And that's what really I would, finally I feel like I myself am comfortable enough to say is like, this is the reason GNW has been successful. It's not because we right-click faster, or we send an email faster, or we can, choose a color faster. It's just the experience and the hindsight consolidated. That's what really makes like a consultancy.
Well, because I think that the reality too is that when you try to make the art of the possible happen, and sometimes, especially if you've seen this sort of story play out time after time after time, like there are just things that don't fucking work. Like it seems like they should, and like your logical mind is like, yeah, it seems like that should work, but it doesn't. Like a sales and marketing alignment workshop seems like a great idea until you do 20 of them, and then you're like, fucking, it doesn't work. Like, stop investing in it. And I think that is the big thing of this juxtaposition of what GNW has in hindsight, insights that come forward and say like, I get that you want to do this. Yeah. Every client I've ever had wants to do it. We've done it 20 times. You're not special. It doesn't fucking work. Focus your effort on this thing instead. I think that ability to not start on dumb shit that's not going to ultimately help you win and get more revenue in the door is like the big value. Yeah.
And even minusing like once again, like going back to revenue is always the end goal for any company. In order to get to a point where you actually believe that, okay, we can predict it, we can forecast it efficiently, there are entire processes behind that. And when you focus on processes that are, figments of people's imagination, right? It becomes very hard to really focus on what you should be working on to get generally repeatable revenue, right? Like that's people say that word like everyone doesn't fucking want repeatable revenue, right? Yeah. Like so, and that's the biggest thing, and the reason it's taken obviously like me a while to kind of do it is that you have to build a team, and you have to build a team of consultants that know what they're talking about enough to properly plan that. And that's the thing about hiring an independent contractor versus a consultancy is exactly like we said before is you have a group, you have a consortium. Another big word. It was actually on my calendar, so I used it in a sentence. But you have this consortium of people that can help. Even if one person doesn't know, there's another person that's available to kind of fill in.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to wrap up with some gossip because you have been talking in circles about, oh, we were on site, oh, this company presented, who shall remain anonymous, we're protecting the identities of the innocent.
We're partners with them, so we are, yes.
However, what is a technology that you feel like the art of the probable is really far from the art of the possible? Like they're always sort of selling a bill of goods.
Currently, in this moment in time, which is August 2024, anything with MTA and multi-touch attribution technology.
Ooh!
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
shots fired.
I know.
Yeah. All right.
And
because why though? Like maybe like what are the things that are holding back the art of the possible on multi-touch attribution?
The thing that people don't ever want to focus on whatsoever that makes multi-touch attribution viable, your fucking data.
I
mean, there's no way a
chance
in hell. Yeah.
Like nobody wants to invest in data.
The reason multi-touch attribution just in general does not work is because companies don't want to, because data is boring.
Yeah.
Like ultimately, like no one wants to sit there on a 1 hour call talking about, job titles and fields and formulas and stuff like that. And the problem with multi-touch attribution software is they always say we try to make it easy. And at the end of the day, it's always last touch.
Well, and so, I think that a conversation that's happening in a very small pocket of the world is this idea of multi-touch attribution versus like media mix modeling, which is what B2C companies have used forever to understand the impact of marketing. And I think that even to some extent, multi-touch attribution software's very nice. Like, what is the like their intention is good to try to make it easier, to your point, but the reality is that this is not easy. The reality of saying what is marketing doing and how is it impacting revenue is a really complex, highly mathematical equation that MTA does not take into account fundamentally. Like the idea of probability and all of these things that are like regression, like these math terms that people either have never learned or have very, very long time ago forgotten.
Or they don't understand.
They're complicating the situation.
Or they don't understand touch points in time.
And they make us look like fools.
Yeah.
Honestly, like in front of a CFO who's going to ask all these questions, and there's this black box of like, I don't fucking know.
Actually,
like, it's ridiculous.
What you said right now is exactly the reason why I say MTA software is because, and we'll probably save this one for the second part of this episode too, about like building your career in ops and stuff like that, because I know we're going to talk about that. But specifically for MTA is that people are just getting smarter. Like you can't go into a fucking boardroom of people and be like, we have $15 million associated to organic web visits. Like, no, that's not
definitely
like, right. Like,
just people are just typing in our name
and
into
finding
the URL.
us. Yeah.
Of course,
right.
Why not?
So there's a thing with technology. There's a thing, and the biggest like elephant in the room is that data is so misconstrued and so much of a little focus that you will never be able to possibly achieve true multi-touch attribution if data is such a hindsight that because it's never going to happen. Like you might as well, like there's a couple clients and there's a couple companies that we've talked to and they're just going back to last touch. I just want to know, where did the person come from and what is the last thing that they did, and then let's go from there, because that data is relevant and you don't need to fix your entire data tech stack in order to get that information.
Yeah. All right, so what I'm hearing is, in order to move...
And ABM software.
From the... What I'm hearing is, in order to move from the art of the possible to the art of the probable, get a second opinion. Of course, if you want to use G&W to do it, awesome. But just definitely get a second opinion, and then be really realistic about what you can and cannot accomplish.
Yes. Absolutely. Like in today's market, when we started, there were, I believe, 150 SaaS products or some shit like that.
Oh my God, it was so small.
Yeah,
I can't even believe how
and
big
then
it's grown.
what is the most recent one in 2024 is 29,000.
I don't know.
And if you're saying that you might be familiar with marketing, but if you're not familiar with tech, they're going to sell you all of them's goal. All of them's goal?
Definitely.
Is that English? All of them. All of their goals.
I understood.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All of their goal is to sell you this product.
Definitely. So bottom line, bring a friend.
Yeah.
Phone a friend. Make sure that you have another set of eyes to call bullshit with the hindsight of what actually can we get accomplished with this technology, what can we not.
Yep.
All right. So if people want to understand or enlist your help moving from the art of the possible, aka bullshit, to the art of the probable, hit up the website, hit up Raja on LinkedIn.
The About Us page should be done by the time this thing releases.
Awesome.
No, I'm sorry, the revision of it. The revision.
The reimagining of the vision of GNW should be done. Yes, okay.
Correct.
So next, we're gonna continue to talk brass tacks, old-fashioned marketing. We're gonna talk about old-fashioned budgets.
Budgets.
And how
Budget
to get
planning.
how to get that money.
Or utilize what you have.
Or utilize the dog shit money that your CEO thinks
That you
marketing should have.
Correct. Cheers.
Well, cheers, Raj. We'll see you there.
I just realized I forgot to squeeze the orange in. So
Oh, okay.
I'm not going
Oh, wow. Look
yeah.
at the mess you're making over there in this diner, in this classic old-fashioned diner for our old-fashioned marketing
Oh, I did
episode.
make a mess. You're right.
I know.
Okay.
I saw it
Yeah.
squeeze all over the table,
Yeah, okay.
but, you know, that's all right.
So it's good.
Somebody in
It's
an
good.
old-fashioned, you know,
I feel like old
get up
diners
will
were
come
dirty
and
anyway,
clean it for
weren't they?
us.
Like
What?
weren't they just like old diners were just dirty? It's not like a lot of people clean, right?
Everything was dirty. Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
it's citrus. I mean, nowadays we use citrus to clean stuff. So I did them a favor.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.